What does it mean when someone says they're a jazz player? Probably not what most people think. I have some thoughts. Hi, I'm John Liebman. Welcome to another episode of The Essence of Groove. I remember back in the 80s, I was telling people, I'm going down to Florida, I'm going to University of Miami, and I'm going to get a master's degree in jazz. And people would look at me and, well, even today they might look at you kind of funny, but their conception of jazz was, I don't know, maybe they were thinking Louis Armstrong or Dixieland, or maybe they were thinking Benny Goodman or Glenn Miller or Duke Ellington. And, if that was their conception of jazz, they'd say, well, jazz is dead. Why would you want to do that? And it's funny, it's not at all unusual back then or today for a group of jazz players to get together for, a gig, a show, a recording session, whatever it is. And the leader might say, okay, this what we're going to play, this has got a rock feel. And everybody goes, okay. Or this is like a pop tune. Or this has got a reggae feel. Or this is, a country thing. Nobody would bat an eye. They would just say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Now, when I went down to school, we studied plenty of bebop and John Coltrane and Giant Steps and Cannonball Adderley. I love that stuff. That's jazz. That's jazz. But I also played in the orchestra, and we were playing a piece by Stravinskys Petrushka. And the conductor, for whatever reason, I don't know why, maybe he was just sizing everybody up, but he called every single member of the orchestra into his office one at a time to play a passage, an excerpt from Stravinsky's Petrushka. And I don't think he told us to prepare a particular part. I think we were just ready for anything, or expected to be ready for anything. And Stravinsky, is not exactly toe-tapping music. There was the part that he chose for me, it went from like 5/8 to 7/8 to 2/4, a lot of rhythm changes, like da 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 da, and it's on the upright, obviously, it was with the bow. And I played the part, and I nailed it, okay. And then he looked at me and he said, "Are you a jazz major?" And I said, "Yes, I am. Why do you ask?" He says, "You jazz guys can play anything." And, I'm not saying that for an ego thing. It's just, I'm making a point that jazz could mean jazz. It could be walking bass and, bebop and the other things that I mentioned. Or it could be anything. Or what is jazz? Was Weather Report jazz? Was Return to Forever jazz? Was Mahavishnu jazz? I guess so. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the point is, if somebody is a jazz musician, in my experience, they are armed and prepared and able to play just about any style of music. I'm not talking about the snobs, the purists that say, no, this is, that don't even recognize the electric bass as a legitimate musical instrument. I'm not talking about those people. But, it's funny, the degree that I got down at University of Miami was actually called Studio Music and Jazz. And my undergrad degree at Wayne State University in Detroit, that was called Jazz Studies and Contemporary Media. So I don't know, back in those days, if you studied music and you majored in music, it was either classical or it was jazz. There was nothing in between. It didn't matter if you were an instrumentalist or a vocalist, or if you're studying music therapy or conducting or anything like that. You were either classical or jazz. Today, I don't know, can you get a degree in rock and roll? Can you get a degree? I don't know, maybe. That'd be kind of cool if you could. But I'd love to get your thoughts on this. What is jazz? Why is it still called jazz? And, is that okay? Is there another name for it? Is there something else? Is there another approach? Is it okay to say you're a jazz player? You know what? Or just say, you know what? I'm a bass player. What do you need? What do you got? I've played tons of shows. I've played tons of Broadway shows. I've played tons of Latin shows. I've played, back in the 80s, I used to play a lot of weddings. I used to play, everything. And yeah, I'm a jazz guy. And jazz guys, jazz people can play anything. I'd like you to share your thoughts on this. Leave a comment below. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe. I have all kinds of tips and advice for learning bass and playing bass. And sometimes we might even get into deep philosophical discussions about jazz and what is jazz. But I'd really like to get your take on this because it's not that it really matters, but you know, I love music. I love all kinds of music. I love most aspects of music. So that's why I brought it up, because it's something I thought you might be interested in, and I'd like you to weigh in, and I'd like to get your thoughts. So I'll watch for it. Love to hear from you. In the meantime, I'll see you right back here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of The Essence of Groove. I'm John Liebman. Let's play bass.